Howdy, this is the Views from the Shop podcast. I'm your host, your one and only host, Tim Miller, and today it is Sunday, February 15th, 2026, and I wish you a very, very, very happy National Gumdrop Day. Well, on today's show, I think we're probably all in a pretty similar mood. We may be waking up today feeling disappointed or discouraged. I think a lot more of us would say we're past that point. We're getting more than frustrated, more than angry, and more dejected than ever before after Ohio State's 70-66 loss to Virginia last night in Nashville. It was a game that was more than winnable for Ohio State, quite frankly. Ohio State fans at least would argue they should have won this game, maybe with a different coach, maybe with a different roster, whatever you may say. In that regard, the facts are the facts. Ohio State probably should have won that game against Virginia last night, probably should have gotten its first real quad one win of the season, its first signature win of the season, and instead the Buckeyes head back home to Columbus with another quad one loss, another disappointing loss. And that's where Ohio State basketball is at this point. Look, I've got a lot of thoughts on this show. I've got a lot of notes. I've got a thick wad of paper here. Some of it, stuff that you're probably going to expect me to say. Other things that you may not expect me to say at this point. But I've got a lot to get into on today's show. I think this is, in terms of content, probably one of the healthier shows that you will ever take in for the Views from the Shop podcast. So if you're new here, please subscribe. This is your only Ohio State basketball podcast, previewing and reviewing every single game the Buckeyes play throughout the season. And then we have players, coaches, staff, whole bunch of other types of people just like that on the show during our summer guest series, where you get to know these players, these coaches, and things like that even more. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. On YouTube, please like the video. Please subscribe there. We want to get to 300 subscribers there before March Madness, where we hope the Buckeyes are dancing as well. Please like the video. When I say that, look, I was the guy back in the day where I would watch a video and they'd say, please like it, please subscribe. Be like, why does it matter? It comes up in my feed anyway. They don't need my one like. Look, they may not, but I do. I need your one like. So please do like. And also a note on YouTube, if you see me wearing a Seattle Mariners hoodie right now, which I've worn before. Look, some people didn't like T-Bone's take this week, apparently. I don't know who those people may have been, but some people didn't like it, and they flamed him, among other things, for wearing some kind of Mets, I think it was like a hat or something like that, and therefore his take on Ohio State is not valid. Look, I'm not a Seattle Mariners fan, okay? Relax. Let's get that out of the way now. I'm not a Mariners fan. I went to Seattle for work one time, got this hoodie. It was like a playoff. Is this a play? Yeah, it's a postseason hoodie. And it was a year after they made the postseason. It was $25 for a really nice hoodie. Who's going to say no to that? Certainly not me. You may, but I won't. So I got the hoodie. I'm not a Mariners fan. My takes on Ohio State can still be valid. However, a lot of people after this week would say that's not the case. Look, people are getting very angry online. And after this week, in terms of my Twitter experience, I'm about ready to go off in the corner of a room and dial mom's number and say, hey, can you pick me up from this party? It's getting too wild here, okay? Of course, there was the debacle with the LeBron James tweet, which I swear to you, when I published that tweet, when I hit post on Friday morning, I shut the app and said, it's just a tweet. It'll get 12 likes. It is what it is. It's just a tweet. Who cares? And then you've seen probably the GIF before. Maybe you've seen the show Community. I think his name is Troy, where he walks into the apartment holding a couple pizza boxes, and it's just chaos when you open the door. We've got things that are on fire. People are running around. It's a madhouse in there. That's what happened after entering the real world again and then getting back online. It was maybe noon, 1 o'clock on Friday. I open up Twitter to a mass of comments from people I've never seen, never heard of before. And I had no idea the tweet was going to get the impressions that it did. And I, quite frankly, had no interest in it doing that because most people who were seeing it don't know anything about me, don't know anything about the show. People explaining to me that LeBron James didn't go to Ohio State. Well, shoot, now that you mention it, let me Google that real quick. Oh, I didn't realize LeBron James didn't go to Ohio State University. Thank you. Getting accused of bag watching. Look, folks, I don't care how LeBron James spends his money. The other thing, we'll get into this now because everyone's pissed off. So let's just get into this. At some point, we'll talk about Virginia. Don't worry. Accusing me of not giving my hard-earned money to the Ohio State University NIL fund. First of all, how do you know I haven't? You don't know how I spend my funds. Do I spend it at times ordering some Sonic to wash away my tears after Ohio State loses another winnable game to Virginia? Maybe I do. Do I also maybe add a penny or two to Ohio State's NIL? I don't know. But you don't know either. And that's as specific as I'd like to be. You don't need to read into that more than me just saying, I don't know. It's hard to say. Look, the other difference there, LeBron James worth, I don't know, several millions, maybe billions of dollars. I don't know his net worth. So I don't know. If you want to buy here's the thing. Now I'm really going to get into it. You're going to complain about the rebounding effort last night from Ohio State, right? You're going to complain about that, say it wasn't good enough. Tilly wasn't good enough. Amari Bynum wasn't good enough. Njegovan wasn't good enough. Whatever. I don't care. They just weren't good enough rebounding. They got destroyed on the glass last night. So you're going to complain about that and in the same breath say that I shouldn't be calling out some LeBron James figure for not securing a player for Ohio State in the portal when you know what? I have it on good authority. He might have been able to afford Morez Johnson Jr. last year for Ohio State in the portal, who would have really helped rebounding in this game. Wouldn't he have, friend? Yeah, I think he would have. And you know what? I don't have the $2 million to spend on Morez Johnson Jr. And if I did, you best believe I would be doing it, just like a lot of us would be, right? If we're in the same shoes. So people calling me out, I didn't mean anything by the tweet. I wasn't saying that it's a horrible thing that LeBron James isn't donating to Ohio State NIL. I wasn't saying that the reason Ohio State basketball is bad is because LeBron James doesn't donate to NIL. I wasn't saying anything like that. Quite frankly, it was a joke of a tweet that people took seriously. And the good thing is, I only had to block one person, okay? I'm not a blocker type of guy, right? That's not who I am. Quite frankly, it's because every comment on my tweet, it helps get that tweet out to more people. So it's fine. I usually just take it. Even the B. Catos of the world back in the day, if you know, you know, I never blocked him. He finally blocked me. I don't know why, but I'm not going to block him, okay? I'm going to let him do whatever he wants to do. Only one instance did I have to block someone who said something along the lines of earmuffs, folks, all right? If you're listening with your kid, just mute for 10 seconds. I don't want them to ask what these letters mean. A little something like STFU, middle finger emoji, and then go do something in a ditch. You worthless piece of something. I'm not taking that. I won't be taking it. Neither will you. If anyone says that to you, you shouldn't take it. That's just, we're not going to say that here. Okay. It's basketball. Relax, guys. So that happened. And then last night, I post the freaking final score that Ohio State loses. And we have fans mad at me for putting Devin Royal on the graphic. Hey, guys. Sorry. Ohio State lost by 4 to Virginia in a game they should have won. And you're mad at me for who I put on the graphic? It's not that deep. It's not that deep whatsoever. Am I going to put Bruce Thornton, the guy who carried this team through nearly 40 minutes of basketball in this game against a really good Virginia team? Am I going to put him on the graphic? No. I have people complain about who I put on the graphic, which I didn't realize people care that much. I'm not going to put someone who played well on the graphic of a loss. I'm going to put someone on the graphic who I feel like, I don't know, maybe deserves a little bit of, not negative attention. He doesn't deserve, Devin Royal doesn't deserve negative attention after the loss. But my caption on the tweet was this. I'll find it. Here it is. I said, so close to an almost good basketball team. And we got people mad at me for what I said or for who's on it. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it, folks. I think you're angry at everything, and it's kind of like having a fire. What are those things called? Flamethrower. That's it. It's like having a flamethrower. We're just going all over the place. 360 degrees of coverage, and I happen to get a flame there. I'm not going to put Bruce Thornton on the graphic when he's not responsible for the loss. I'm not going to put on the graphic Bruce Thornton and then say so close to an almost good team. It's not Bruce Thornton's fault. So cut me a break here, guys. Look, I never expected the show to get to the point that it has, and I'm really thankful for that. And I opened myself up to this, and that's fine. But goodness, man, It was not fun to be online this week. I'll say that. It's time for a sip. Mm-hmm. Yep, you hear me mm-hmm. That means we're still here if you're listening on podcast. All right, so people are angry. Let's talk about Virginia, because I'm angry too, quite honestly. How many times... I have these notes here. I have this pages of notes, and it's almost like, what's the point? Why do you even have these notes when you're just going to get into a rant already? And I've ranted a couple times this year. I don't know if I'm going to rant on this show particularly, but it's more so just, why did I take these notes when I'm just ready to just start spouting words for 30 minutes? How many times have you seen this game happen before for Ohio State? Honestly, this year, the past couple of years, whether it be under Diebler or the latter years of Chris Holtmann, how many times have you seen a game from Ohio State basketball where victory is right there and it slips through your fingers? That is what we saw against Virginia last night. That's what we've seen from Ohio State in several different losses this year. It felt like I was watching the same bad movie over and over again, and someone's holding my eyes open so that I just have to watch for 2 hours. And quite frankly, I don't have to. I don't have to do this podcast. I don't have to watch this game for 2 hours on a Saturday night. You think the wife was happy with me watching Ohio State basketball from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Valentine's Day night? I don't think so, folks. I don't think so. So, not something I had to do, something I chose to do. And yet it's like we see the same story over and over again. Once you get to that point later in the second half where this game feels like it's teetering, it's essentially like we might as well just not watch anymore at that point, because we know where this is going to go. Every single time we have a game like this, my confidence level in Jake Diebler, this coaching staff, and this team, it's just reduced a little bit. And some people started with -5 confidence level in Jake Diebler and the coaching staff. Once Diebler was hired, they were already out, and they are on a generational run of hating on Jake Diebler and then on this program right now because they never wanted Jake Diebler. And guess what, guys? The people on Twitter wouldn't know this. They wouldn't know it. I've got people accusing me of like saying that I support Jake Diebler because sometimes he feeds me information or something like that. Guess what, folks? I don't know Jake Diebler that well. All right, I'll be straight up transparent. I don't know Jake Diebler that well, so it is what it is. But some people may not remember this. Some people may not know this. I wanted Dusty May when it came out from Adam Jardy. That was between Dusty May and Jake Diebler. I said I wanted Dusty May. You can go back and listen to that episode and listen to yourself. I wanted Dusty May, and yet I still said at that time, look, Jake Diebler, he's an Ohio guy. I'll support him. I'm going to support this program. That's what we're going to do here. That's just the stance. And you can talk about Dusty May. You can talk about John Calipari for whatever stupid reason that we have to rehash for the 97 billionth time, folks. Dusty May said no. John Calipari said no. Why? You're looking at it. We're watching a basketball game where Gus Johnson just decides to backhand the entire Ohio State basketball program by saying, well, Ryan Day's taking all the NIL money. Shut up, Gus. We're 5 minutes into this game. All right. It's not 71-42 with 8 minutes left in the second half. We just started, Gus. You have no reason to be talking about that. And then you're going to put Jim Jackson in a weird situation saying, hey, Jim, where's your money? Hey, guys, you going to yell at me for bag watching? Yell at Gus Johnson. Huh? So that was weird. But look, you're watching it right now. Look at Michigan's talent roster. Look at the guys that they're getting. You wonder why Dusty May chose Michigan over Ohio State? There's your reason. It's not that hard to see. It's not a secret. It's not like I have some kind of insider information on that. Just look at it. Open your eyes. It's right there for you. How we got there? I don't know. My confidence level slowly fading at this point. Jake Diebler, Ohio State. You look at the games this year. Look at Pitt. Was that gettable for Ohio State? I'd say so. With 3 seconds left in the game, Ohio State had a 94.6% chance to win, according to ESPN and their little probability blah blah graph, whatever that is. I'll continue to quote that, okay? That's where I'm getting these numbers from. So about 95% chance to win. Out of 100 times, Ohio State should lose that game just 5. 1 out of every 20. Should have won. They failed to do so. They also had a 78.9% chance to win that game with 4 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the second half. Look, if you don't have John Mobley Jr. get hurt in that game, if you get a whole John Mobley Jr. game, you probably win that game, right? That's probably a win. But it wasn't. And that's where Ohio State is at this point. The Illinois loss, Wisconsin, Michigan losses, things like that. It is what it is. They're all good teams. You lost by 8 to Illinois, big deal. Ohio State had an 81.1% chance to beat North Carolina when they were up 70-67 with 48 seconds remaining. They lost by 3 points to a really, really good Nebraska team at home. Almost won, almost does not get the job done. From the 17-minute mark in the first half to the 17-minute mark in the second half, Ohio State was the projected winner at Washington. Washington would go on to win that game. Washington is now 13-13. Against Virginia, Ohio State had a 74.9% chance to win the game with 9 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the second half. They led for 8 entire minutes in the second half. They scored 16 points off of turnovers in the loss. They forced 8 straight misses during one span in the second half against Virginia. And Virginia also had a different 1-for-6 stretch from the field. Virginia didn't score for the first 2.5 minutes of the second half, which allowed you to go out and get that lead. And yet, Ohio State still loses. They're still unable to get the job done. Now, you can argue the positive what ifs, like Pitt. What if John Mobley Jr. doesn't get hurt, for example? What if against North Carolina, Jake Diebler does get that timeout called and the officials do give it to him? He wanted the timeout, officials didn't give it to him. What if Ohio State got half as many free throw attempts as Virginia had last night? What if Gabe Cupps wasn't on the floor with 30 seconds left to go and you needed a bucket against Virginia and you sub him out and put a Tayson Chapman back in the game? We'll talk about Tayson Chapman later. What if, we had free throws right there. You could have subbed him out. Instead, you're basically playing 4-on-5 offensively with Gabe Cupps in. No offense to Gabe Cupps. He's not been an offensive producer this year. We all know that. Here's the facts, okay? This Ohio State team is 3-4 in one possession games this year. Would you believe that? If I would have asked you, I probably should have. If I would have said, what do you think Ohio State's record is in one possession games this year? You probably would have said 1-7 or 2-5 or something like that. With the loss to Virginia, they dropped to 3-4. So the fans who push the narrative that Ohio State can't close out games, that they can't win close games, they are either one, they are delusionally hate watching Jake Diebler and have from the start, or maybe didn't from the start, but at this point they're delusionally hate watching Jake Diebler in Ohio State, or two, they're just unaware of the facts. I swear, if I put out a tweet and said, what do you think Ohio State's winning percentage is in close games this year? It would be far below a 3-4 winning percentage. So at this time, Ohio State's still 3-4. They're not awful in close games. They're just not. They lost one game. Have they lost some other games that they shouldn't have? Pitt, North Carolina? Absolutely. They shouldn't have lost those games. But they're still 3-4 in close games. So that said, the narrative, probably not necessarily as right as you may think, although I completely understand and I feel just as frustrated as you probably do at this point with the losses in close games. This was another game for Ohio State where you slowly chip and you slowly chip and you slowly chip. It's like we're going out back and we've got to go chop a tree down, or maybe a tree is already down. We got to start splitting some wood here. Look, when it comes to an entire log, a big log, a large log, some would say, it's not going to take just one hack. It's going to be hack after hack after hack after hack. And you know what? At this point, that log is starting to get split. There are some fractures. There are some cracks. There is some opening that you can see through to the other side. And at this point, this fan base is teetering on a complete fracture and completely turning away from the basketball program more than it already has at this point. You're losing fans on a daily basis at this point with games like this. And at some point, something has to change. And I'm not saying that that's Jake Diebler, but I'm saying you got to start winning some games at this point and stop losing games like this. I'd rather you lose 72-61 than lose 70-66 and have the lead that you did. Because again, there are people who, even in our insider subscriber chat, which I love the guys in there. They are diehards of diehards when it comes to Ohio State basketball. All morning they've been talking about the game. I love it. Even them. You can tell. We're starting to teeter at this point. The window is starting to open for people to say, you know what? Going to a game? You know what? Watching this game on TV? I got some stuff to do outside. Or I think I'm just going to watch a movie and I'll follow the game on my phone. If it's close, I might throw it on. You're starting to lose that. And the problem with that is that you're losing you when you were 10 years old. That's what you're losing. Because how many fans grew up like this? Probably the same way that I did. A lot of people grew up the same way. If you're in a blessed situation to be in this position, this is how I grew up. I have a dad who I love to death. Love my dad. I remember the first game I ever remember watching of Ohio State basketball was Ohio State against Illinois when Matt Sylvester hit that three-pointer in the shot. Things go crazy, right? That is the first game I remember watching. I was in awe. I was in awe watching that happen. And from there, I was hooked. I was hooked on Ohio State basketball. And you are losing that generation. Those who are in my generation, you are starting to lose those fans. And the problem is that when you lose those fans, when they have children, you lose that generation too. You're losing 2 generations of what could be fans at this point, which means that Anthony Thompsons of the world, who grew up in Ohio, John Mobley Jr.'s of the world, Devin Royal, Ohio State doesn't mean as much to them. Even Colin White, man, he came on the show and basically said, I've always been a huge Ohio State football fan, but they weren't very good as long as I've been a basketball fan. So I always paid attention to the football team. You're losing players in that way. That's what you're teetering on. You're sliding down that slope. And if things don't get fixed, whether it be under Jake Diebler or not, you're going to keep losing those things. The fans, the players, the investment, all of those types of things. So that's my biggest takeaway from the game. I got to take another sip. You know, I thought the pancakes, I thought getting some fresh air, I thought all that would help me this morning. It hasn't. Did it help you? Probably not. Hey, another takeaway from this game. I don't know how there's no way to just hard transition from that. These are just my thoughts at this point. I'm not doing key stats. I'm not doing the normal stuff I do. I'm just talking. I'm talking as if you're with me in the same room or we're texting about it. That's how I try to approach these episodes. Center is a problem for Ohio State. We had some people respectfully debating in the insider subscriber chat the merits of Christoph Tilley versus Njegovan. And I can tell you what, the way that this debate has gone is probably the same way it goes on in your head, is essentially one person is saying that Tilley isn't as bad as Njegovan is at this, or Njegovan isn't quite as bad as Tilley is at that. And for that reason, they should play. And if that's how we're forming our arguments, that's probably a problem for Ohio State at center. In this game against Virginia, Christoph Tilley, he played weak. Everyone calls him soft. I don't know how to argue against that at this point. He's constantly moved off his spot. It feels like he's constantly getting bullied. He doesn't have good touch at the rim. He missed a breakaway layup against a guy who's smaller than him. Hey, friends, by the way, jump stop, okay? Jump stop. If someone's on your back, you got a breakaway chance. Jump stop. 46th percentile in offensive rebounding rate is Christoph Tilley this year. Over his last 5, it's even worse than that. He's 34th percentile in defensive rebounding rate, which drops to 8th percentile over his last 5 games. Christoph Tilley, the 7-footer at The Ohio State University, is not just a below average rebounder. He's been a horrible rebounder for Ohio State over the last 5 games, many of these games in which you've lost a game due to rebounding. He has not led the team in rebounding since December 20th. You didn't even know what you were getting for Christmas at that point. December 20th. That's the last time Christoph Tilley led Ohio State in rebounding. It was the North Carolina game. By the way, Bruce Thornton, a 6'2" guard, he has led the team in rebounding 4 times since Christoph Tilley last led Ohio State in rebounding. That's a 7'0" Christoph Tilley. He had 3 total rebounds in 26 minutes of play. He was also 4 of 12 from the field in this game. Now we can look at Njegovan. People can have their opinions. 14 minutes, 4 points, 5 rebounds. 5 rebounds, not bad whatsoever, especially in 14 minutes of play. We saw way too many, at least me, I saw too many instances in which Njegovan just failed to find a player to box out. We're ball watching. Shot goes up, my head goes up. I'm not looking for a butt. I'm not looking for a body to hit. I'm just going to wait for the ball to drop to me because I'm 7'2" or whatever. Njegovan is. Quite frankly, last night, even with the bad play from Njegovan, I think he probably should have eaten into Christoph Tilly's minutes a little bit more. Christoph Tilly was outmatched last night. He was not ready to go. He did not look, he just, I hate using this vernacular because it is so emotional. It is such a narrative driven argument. There's no way to prove it or disprove it. So I hate to even say it. But when you looked at Christoph Tilly last night, did he look ready to go? Did he look fired up? Did he look like he was ready to go dominate a basketball game as the game went on? I wouldn't say so at this point. So that was highly disappointing. Was a play from Tilly and Njegovan. I don't know what the solution is here. I mean, yeah, Tilly has hit some threes, and that's great, but the rebounding is atrocious. You cannot be getting out rebounded as a 7-footer by a 6'3" guard. Sorry, 6'2" guard, and Bruce Thornton. That just can't happen. Bruce Thornton can't do everything. So the problem at center is real. It's severe, and it may keep Ohio State out of the NCAA tournament. Very easy transition here. Rebounding, Ohio State got his butt kicked again last night on the glass. Ohio State was out rebounded 40-26. They're out rebounded 19-14 in the second half. They allowed 11 offensive rebounds to Virginia. Now, look, if you listen to the preview show, you knew West Virginia, they're going to be really good on the glass. One of the best teams in all of college basketball on the offensive glass. So I would think you may not stop Virginia on the boards. You may not out rebound Virginia in this game. But if I'm Yvonne Njegovan, again, if I'm Devin Royal, am I not going to seek out every single opportunity to fight for every rebound, to put a butt on someone that I can? How many times did you see players last night just watch the ball or wait for someone else to get a rebound or watch the ball drop to the floor? The effort, the hustle, it's simple things. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that I saw that last night. The rebounding effort was horrible. You look at DeRitter, he scored 6 points in this game. Malik Thomas scored 13 on a not so great shooting night for Virginia. It's not like they got out offensed in this game. Virginia scored 70 points. Virginia was not spectacular offensively. They shot 40% in the second half, 41%. They shot 43% in the game. They made 6 3-pointers. Yeah, they were 22 of 32 from the free throw line. Ohio State was 6 of 9. Hard to win when that's the case. Complain about officiating all you want. Ohio State had the chance to win this game and they didn't. That's the story of this game. It's not freaking free throws. So the way that Ohio State lost this game, with the rebounding especially, it's something you could have fixed. It's something you could have done better. And did they choose not to? Did they not care? I don't know. But rebounding was an issue in this one. Another issue, Bruce Thornton's effort was wasted in this game. Absolutely wasted. Bruce Thornton, in the second half for Ohio State, he scored 18 points. He scored 18 of Ohio State's 29 second half points. He finishes with 28 points, 12 of 21 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line, 4 rebounds, and an assist as well. Does it all in 38 minutes of action. Bruce Thornton had a game and a performance that we have been asking for, that I've been saying on this show for weeks at this point, which is, Bruce, go take more than 20 shots in a game. Go take over. I don't care if you go 7 of 20 and you score 16 points and it's not efficient and Ohio State loses. But my gosh, if this team is going to miss the NCAA tournament, it better not because Bruce Thornton was a good shooter but didn't shoot that much. I mean, he's your best player. He's your senior. And everyone talks about Bruce Thornton's going to miss the NCAA tournament over his entire career at Ohio State. You can't let it be because you weren't aggressive enough down the stretch. Take it into your own hands, Bruce. And he did in this one. 28 points. I mean, my goodness. You look at the scoring in the second half. Bruce Thornton had a stretch where he scored 2, 3, 5, 8 of 10, 5 in a row. Then he scored 8 of 10. And then he scored 11 of 13 and then 13 of 15 at one point. And also, we'll go 15 of 19 at one stretch for Ohio State, where Amari Bynum and Christoph Tilly were the only other players to score. Speaking of Christoph Tilly and being upset with that last sequence, Christoph Tilly getting the shot. I don't know, man. I don't know why Christoph Tilly gets a shot there. I don't know why. Bruce Thornton gets his shot blocked. It's pretty easy to know what's coming there when he's going to try to hit a floater over a 7-footer. Yeah, it's going to get blocked. But Bruce Thornton's game overall gets overshadowed by the loss, and that sucks for him, and he doesn't deserve that. Just a question I've got. Does Ohio State win this game with John Mobley Jr.? I'll preface this by saying, complaining that John Mobley Jr. is not tough, I would recommend you just sit this one out, and that's as specific as I'd be on his toughness. There are players in the past who have not been tough at Ohio State. They're no longer in the program. There's players who have not been tough. John Mobley Jr., he does not fit in that category. Look, do you remember the 2 mid-range jumpers that Tayson Chapman hit to start this game? Ohio State, I mean, my goodness, in the first half, do you remember how encouraging it was? How many times have we gotten to that point? Ohio State led by 8. They led 12-4 with 15 minutes and 32 seconds left to go in the first half. They led by 11, 17-6 with 14 minutes left to go in the first half, and still unable to get the job done in this one. We're talking about Tayson Chapman. He had a couple jumpers to really jumpstart Ohio State's offense in the first half. Look, after that, he wouldn't score again. He would take, I think, one-ish other shot. Let me see. I don't care. He didn't take a lot. He didn't score. It doesn't matter how many shots he took. Shut up. Move on. Tayson Chapman wouldn't score again after those 4 points that he scored. Now, to be fair, John Mobley Jr., he's technically had some games like that, right? He scored 3 against Washington and Pitt, 4 in a game against Michigan. He's had a couple games scoring 8, one game scoring 8, a couple games scoring 9. But you've also had John Mobley Jr., who scored more than 20 points in 7 games. So are the odds higher that John Mobley Jr. in this game is going to score 12 or that he's going to score 7? And even if he scored 7, that's 3 more than what Tayson Chapman had. And I guess you still lose the game by 1, but and then you got to see what does Tayson Chapman do compared to John Mobley Jr. defensively. It's a whole big thing at that point. But the fact is, John Mobley Jr. could have scored 18 points in this game. Ohio State could have won by 5. But unfortunately, they did not. This was Tayson Chapman's chance to show Ohio State fans who he really is. Fans have been clamoring for him to play. He finally does play. He plays pretty well. He averages 9.5, I think, over his last 5 since getting inserted back into the rotation. I don't know what happened out there with Tayson Chapman. I guess I'd have to go back and watch the game. I guess I'd rather throw up for an hour straight than do that, but maybe I will. Go back and watch. What happened with Tayson Chapman in that game? How do you score 4 points, get so hot with some pretty low percentage shots, but still make them, and then never score again? He had a couple turnovers. I mean, he had the turnover where he's trying to fit it into Christoph Tilly, kind of wrap that pass around at the rim, and it was a hard pass to make. He throws it out of bounds, whatever. Like, those things happen, but Tayson Chapman just disappeared in this game. Does Ohio State win with John Mobley Jr.? I'd like to think they do. So Tayson Chapman, he was a little disappointing in this game, but you get thrust in the starting lineup. Not thrust. He knew. I mean, this wasn't a surprise. It was a surprise to all fans at 5 o'clock. It wasn't a surprise inside that program whatsoever. They knew what was going to happen. So it's tough. It's tough to see Tayson Chapman not be able to step up and kind of help Ohio State win a game. But there's so many other things to blame. I don't put this on Tayson Chapman whatsoever. Now, here's the thing, okay? This is why this loss hurt so much for Ohio State. We'll just take a look at bracket matrix, okay? The last time they updated their bracket was, I think, going into Saturday. Bracket matrix just takes a bunch of bracketologists, averages everything out, and then shows, hey, this on average is where these teams are seated. So let's take a look, okay? Iowa. These are the performances of other bubble teams. Iowa, right now an 8 seed, they're going to drop down to the 9. Most likely, at least. I mean, one whole seed is a lot, but Iowa, projected 8 seed right now, crushed by Purdue on its home floor. Auburn, projected 8 seed right now, handled pretty easily by Arkansas last night. UCF, projected 8 seed. They lost at home to West Virginia. Wisconsin, a projected 9 seed, destroyed Michigan State. File that away. Good win, Wisconsin. SMU, projected 9 seed. They were edged by 1 at Syracuse yesterday. Texas A&M handled on the road against Vandy, projected 9 seed. Indiana, seen as a 9 seed. They're going to play against Illinois today, so we'll see about that. Georgia, seen as a 10 seed. Doors blown off by a bad Oklahoma team yesterday. St. Mary's beat the Pacific Ocean. That doesn't change anything. Nice win, St. Mary's. USC hasn't played since the Ohio State loss. Miami, another projected 10 seed, picked up a huge comeback win over NC State. That's big for them. File that away. Get to the 11 seeds now. UCLA, they got handled by Michigan yesterday. Mick Cronin's very upset about it. Texas beat Mizzou on the road. There's not really a big difference there because Texas, Mizzou, both bubble teams there, so whatever. Santa Clara lost to Gonzaga at home. Missouri has already lost to Texas, as I just said, so no change there. San Diego State, they beat Nevada. That's a big one for them. Props to San Diego State. Shout out Micah Parrish. Moving on. Virginia Tech destroyed on its own court by Florida State. And Florida State, I don't know, maybe they have a good like rowing team or something, because basketball and football is not getting the job done right now. Moving on. TCU, Oklahoma State, bubble teams. TCU won in overtime, doesn't really change anything. Cal won on the road against Boston College, but they're really on the outside of the bubble at this point. So of these games, we had 9 teams lose. We had 5 win, 1 a projected 9 seed, whatever. 1 was a win over the Pacific Ocean, okay? Miami's win over NC State, that's big. I will say that. San Diego State, that win is huge for sure. Cal, its win doesn't matter. 2 of these teams also played each other, so they kind of wash out. Again, this is why this game hurt so badly for Ohio State. It's a game that you should have won. Ohio State should have won this game against Virginia. As I've said for going on maybe 2 weeks now, in order for Ohio State to make the NCAA tournament, they have to win the games that they're going to be projected to win. That's it. Win a couple games in the Big Ten tournament. Jake Diebler, go out coach Mick Cronin in the second round of the Big Ten tournament. If you do that, you're in the NCAA tournament. You're just going to have enough wins at that point. You will be in. Also, oh my gosh, man. Fans talking about ranked wins in bracketology terms. Wake up, guy. Ranked wins has nothing to do with your NCAA tournament resume. How many times have you watched a game and seen, oh, Ohio State has 2 wins against ranked opponents? Well, they have 0. You don't see it when the graphic is thrown up, their net and their record and their conference record and their key wins and losses. You don't see 0 wins against ranked teams. That has nothing to do with the NCAA tournament. You're outing yourself as a casual when you say that, by the way. If Ohio State wins the games it's supposed to win, they're going to have a real shot to go to the NCAA tournament. The problem is the games that they're supposed to win, like Wisconsin at home, I don't know. And quite frankly, this is as specific as I'd like to be because we're going on 40 minutes on the show, less people listening and watching at this point. It's going to get harder for Ohio State to win games for a couple of weeks here, at least. So that said, good luck. Good luck, Ohio State. Good luck getting the fan base back. Good luck making the NCAA tournament. And if Bruce Thornton can't make it to the NCAA tournament, good luck to those in Columbus. Good luck to Ross Bjork's phone. Good luck to Ross Bjork's email. Good luck to those who see, or good luck to Ross Bjork when those see him out in public. Not that that's like violent or anything. Relax. It's just like a verbal. That's it. That's all. Relax, guys. So that said, Ohio State loses the game they should have won yet again. It happens. You had your chance, and it hurt so badly because I think it's going to be very hard for Ohio State to win some games here down the stretch. And I just think it's going to be hard. Okay? So it's not – John Noley Jr. is out indefinitely. He's out indefinitely. Okay? Expected to return this season, but he's out indefinitely. So that's that. We will be back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go finish my coffee. Probably like go on some errands or something. And I'm going to get some notes ready for a Wisconsin show that I will record today on Sunday. And it'll be ready for you tomorrow on Monday. So hopefully you get enough of this show so that you can get some more of this show tomorrow. And Ohio State will play Wisconsin on Tuesday. And we will continue to hope that Ohio State can pick up that marquee win that it so desperately needs because things are about to get real tough. You're going to go to Michigan State and to Iowa and then Purdue at home. Ouchie. That could hurt. Until next time, thank you so much for being here. I know it's been frustrating. I know it's been challenging. It's challenging for me too. So I guess we're in it together at this point. Until next time, I shut up. Before you shut me off, go Bucks.